What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 1997 Lexus ES300. Up front is a 3.0-liter V6. Down below is a 4-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this ES300 for a couple of reasons, but mainly the fact that it's a very clean example even for the mileage. I haven't driven this generation of ES before, and I always love showcasing old Lexuses. I think that they're a really good bang for your buck, and that should become evident throughout the rest of this video. But if you have a vehicle to share with me, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form, takes under a minute to fill out, and a link to that is found in the description below. But let's get back to that 3-liter V6 under the hood, making 200 horsepower. Well, this engine saw life in many different Toyota products of the era. We saw it in the Camry at certain trim levels, and it's a relatively reliable engine. You got to do the timing belts, you got to stay on top of that, and this engine has been re-gasketed, but that's it. At nearly 200,000 miles, that's all the maintenance it's needed, which is delightful to see, and 200 horsepower isn't bad. It's actually a very healthy amount for a vehicle of this stature. Now, like I said, paired to it is a 4-speed automatic. It's fine, you know, it's shifting. I just don't love 4 speeds, but they were very commonplace back in the late 90s, so I can't fault the ES300 for that. Last but not least, this is front-wheel drive, although Lexus was offering rear-wheel drive sedans as well, like the IS and the LS. The ES is front-wheel drive, shares a lot of architecture with the Camry, and so that's what we're stuck with today. So how does it feel to actually drive an ES300? Well, it's a relatively calm and comfortable experience, definitely more calmer and more comfortable than a Camry. It feels just more refined. It feels like more care was given to the ride quality and driving feel than the Toyotas. Visibility's good, steering is good, throttle's good. It's a good driving experience. The shocks and struts on this particular model are a little bit tired, but at 200,000 miles, that's fully expected. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. These are Lexus's electroluminescent gauges, which I've always found to be rather attractive. On the left, we do have our coolant temperature and tachometer. On the right, we have the speedometer and fuel. Everything you really need out of a car, this gives you that info. On the steering wheel, I don't have any forward-facing buttons besides a little cruise control stalk to the bottom right, but that's pretty much it. The steering wheel does have a big cushiony pillow airbag, so characteristic of the 90s. You really love to see it. And off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, my mirror switches, gauge dimmer switches, trunk release, and fuel door release. I do also get this little coin holder. Love to see that. And then moving on to the door, we do have power locks, window locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get 2 climate control vents, hazard switch, digital clock, and our Lexus premium sound badge. This is a little bit before the Mark Levinson era, but not by too much. Then we have our radio itself. So I do get a bunch of different adjustments down below. I really love these balances and faders. Always loved that. But not only do I get a cassette player, I also do get a 6-disc CD changer that is actually found in the glove box. Some cars of this era put them in the trunk, like the BMW E36. This is found in the glove box, so a little hidden, and I like that fact about it. Then we do have our climate controls, very clean, concise, and small. This is the only other thing that has broken on this ES, is actually the blower motor failed as of recently, and it's actually been fixed as of about a week ago. So not a major issue, it wasn't a big deal, just something to note. Then we do have a pop-out ashtray and cigarette lighter, of course, because this is still the 90s. And then we come down to the shifter. Leather-bound shift knob up at the top, big button on the side, wood paneling all around it. Really classy look here, and I really like that. Then we do have heated seat buttons, very nice for 1997 to have heated seats. And then we do have a little pop-out cup holder, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test here in the 1997 Lexus ES300. And unfortunately it fails, and nothing older than 95 ever has, so this era isn't really friendly to the big friggin' bottle. Then we do get a little openable center console, and we'll move on to the seats. The seats are this nice, cushy 90s leather. This era was kind of the last era in my book of like really comfortable leather seats. Now leather seats are so taut and hard and aggressive and big bolstered. Well, these aren't. These are comfortable. They mold and bend to whatever shape your body is. And there's no shame here in whatever shape you might be, because the Lexus will fill in all the gaps. Love that about these older luxury seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 1997 Lexus ES300, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I do have a little ashtray down here and pop-out cup holders, which are fantastic to see. Headroom is pretty good. My head's coming a little close to the ceiling, but if I scooch down, it's not. Knees are barely not touching the seat in front of me. This is like the smallest back seat that I can still say I'm very comfortable in. If it was a little bit more cramped, then I'd start to get a little something like that. So this is actually very, very nice. The nice cushy leather from up front carries on back here. I do get a center console, big foam brick, no cup holders found in there because the cup holders are down below. So tons and tons to love about the back seat of the Lexus ES300. However, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the ES300. Now, unfortunately, there is a trunk pop on the key. However, this does not work. For some reason, it stopped working. The lock button works, the unlock and trunk do not. I don't know if that's a common ES issue or not, but it is on this vehicle. So, pop it in here, pop it up like normal, and here we get a giant trunk. Really, really fantastic size. We do get a Lexus first aid kit and this little pull tab to release the gas cap from the inside. Kind of an interesting feature there. Overall, tons and tons of trunk space in the back of the ES300. Now we got to talk about the looks, and this is honestly one of the biggest downsides of the ES. I don't find it very outwardly pretty, especially this beige on beige on beige. This car was dipped in whatever material they make hearing aids out of and sent on its way. That is a big downside for me. I wish it got some really cool metallic glittery color like Lexus currently does. But I guess you can't fault Lexus of 26 years ago. But with all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the ES300? Well, it's not any new territory by saying that this car is reliable, it's a quality vehicle, and even if you buy one at 150, 200, 250,000 miles, you're probably going to get a relatively good car as long as it was taken care of and not owned by a buffoon. And that's the beauty of these cars, is that even when they are somewhat neglected, not owned by someone that's rather meticulous, you're still going to get a good car. Even if this was owned by a kid, they're still going to be reliable. Even if they're smoked in, the interiors are still going to hold together. And that's a really, really quality feeling that comes with Lexus and Toyota products of this era. But I also want to take a look at this car as a piece of Lexus's history. At this moment in time, 1997, Lexus had only been around for 8 years, less than a decade, which I know it's kind of hard to fathom Lexus not being a company, but they were only founded in 1989. And so looking at this car, you kind of have to remember that this is really an 8-year-old company. This is an 8-year-old. This car, at the time of its release, is technically in second grade. And so second grade is a really good age because second graders are over the fact that they have to go to school all day. At least where I grew up, kindergarten was half day. And so in first grade, you had to go for the entire day. And it was very stressful to a lot of the first graders. They didn't understand why they had to be in this room for 8 hours as opposed to 3.5. So by second grade, everyone's kind of used to the schedule. You're used to saying goodbye in the morning, packing your lunch, going to school all day, and coming home. You have the routine down. But you're still young. You're still not sure of your identity, and an argument could be made that that doesn't come along till high school or college. But you know what I mean. It's not perfect by any means, but the basic motor skills are there when you're a second grader. That's how this car feels. It's confident in what it is. It's luxurious and nice and checks all of those boxes. But Lexus at this point wasn't 100% sure which direction they wanted to go. They had the IS300, which was a manual sports car with a Supra engine. Then they had this, which was an up-badged Toyota Camry, and then they had the LXs and GXs, which were more luxury Land Cruisers, and they were dipping their toes into the SUV market with that and also the RX. So it's just interesting taking a look at this car, having driven so many modern Lexus products, kind of knowing what direction they ended up going in. And so whatever faults you might see with the Lexus ES 300 from 1997, just remember that it's still a little second grader, unsure about the world. But some days, boy, do I wish I could go back to that simpler era. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Paul for letting me take out his ES 300. We tried to film this video one day and it was pouring so crazy that you wouldn't have been able to see the car in the video, which is kind of important. So huge thank you to Paul for being able to reschedule on a shorter notice. That also gave him time to fix the air conditioning, which I am very grateful for. Paul has been absolutely awesome to work with, very down-to-earth guy, and I am very, very appreciative of him. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.